So, it's a common question for most of the Ninjago community over which Ninjago season is the worst. And most people would say season 11 or The After Departed. And there's even some crazy people who think Skybound is the worst. I feel like I have to address that I'm kidding. Yes, I know, okay? Every opinion is valid. If I had to pick, I'd say easily rebooted because this season is really damp. I feel like a lot of people like this season simply because of nostalgia and can't see the flaws in it. So buckle up because this is why Ninjago Rebooted is easily the worst season.
Jump up, kick back, ripple down and spin, and then we jump back to it again. Ninja, come on, do we can win?
So whenever I'm watching a Ninjago season, the thing I'm looking forward to the most are the characters. So let's start with that, shall we? They're really stupid. So in the beginning of the season, they're teachers for some reason, which doesn't make any sense since none of them went to college. And supposedly Lloyd's hanging out, being the golden ninja, receiving an award, which we never actually get to see. In fact, the only time he uses the golden powers is to build a bridge. But yeah, Lloyd's really boring in this season. So he's at his most powerful form in this season, and he only hangs out with his dad and saves a bird and stuff, and then he loses the power like a bitch. And when he can use the golden power to save his dad, he just stands around and collecting green energy. Why didn't he use the golden energy? We see him transform into the Golden Master in 1 second, just one episode ago. Then he goes to space and doesn't really do anything else. Then we have Kai, who's actually pretty okay. He doesn't really do anything special, but at least he's in character and he's never annoying, but he still isn't good. He's just okay, he's passable. And then you have the freaking worst thing to ever come out of Ninjago, the love triangle. Nia's a moron, Jay is a moron, and Cole's just an asshole. And I think they're all annoying, and this is the worst thing to ever come out of Ninjago, and this is really terrible. And I can talk about it for years, but everyone's talked about it, so we all know why this is stupid. And then we have Zane. I don't think it's a controversial statement to say that Zane, at least in the first 5 episodes, is really boring and uninteresting. It's just Robot Boy meets Robot Girlfriend and they're happy, hooray! But it's really boring and really uninteresting. He doesn't really develop or anything like that. But something people do like about Zane is his sacrifice. Now, to further elaborate my point, I'm gonna show why Nia's sacrifice is good. And that's because it represented her development. Like I said in the last video, this is even more genius than just killing her off, because it's her losing her personality, her identity that she always wanted to control and always tried to defy her destiny and be what she wanted. Now has to give up all of that to save Ninjago, and that's a really strong setup. It ties up perfectly her development from season 1 to season 15, and it also is very well foreshadowed. There's like this post on Reddit that I'm gonna leave in the description for you to see. Another thing is that it trusts its audience, and if you don't understand what I mean by that, it's that in season 3, they don't trust their audience. Instead, they show flashbacks to give you a reason why to care about Zane. But to be fair, if you've only watched this season, you probably won't care about Zane anyway. It also looks really bad. Look at this Zane expression, it's so goofy. You can't take it seriously. Look at this overlord expression. How am I supposed to feel sad watching this monster? Also, it doesn't make sense because it defeats the point of Lloyd being the only one to defeat the Overlord. So it kinda ruins the season 2 also. But the most important thing of all that really distinguishes this sacrifice from Nia's sacrifice is that Zayn doesn't really develop in this season, he doesn't change at all. Like I said, good sacrifices showcase development, but think of it this way, would Zayn really have sacrificed himself in the beginning of the season? Yes he would. Now would Nia sacrifice herself in the beginning of Seabound or the island? I don't think so. The only reason this existed was to set up Tournament of Elements, and that season followed up these plot points pretty well. But still, about Zayn. To defeat any point of dignity that this sacrifice could have, they just bring Zayn back after 2 minutes, so like, what's the point? For one side, it would be really bad if Zayn just died in this terrible season, but on the other, it kind of ruins the dignity of the sacrifice. The microscopic shred of dignity, that is. So, now that we have wrapped up about the heroes, let's talk about the villains because Overlord is so bad. He shouldn't have come back in the first place. Could have been literally anyone, could have been Pythor, the main villain, because Pythor also comes back in this season and he just screams missed potential. I like that he came back and he had some interesting development in Tournament of Elements, but this season was also pretty uninteresting for him. Then Cryptar and Mindroid are just the most kids show villains ever imaginable. They have the most predictable but chic humor that's so boring. And finally we have Evil Wu, that's also really uninteresting, really boring. Every villain in this season is really boring, and Wu is only here to sell toys, obviously. So let's talk about the action, I guess. And it's wow, surprisingly bad, like always. Doesn't even look like the characters are touching most of the time. And Garmadon, oh, Garmadon is the worst of them all. Just, I love this scene where he just turns into Spider-Man. It's really funny. For some reason, the writers have a weird obsession with Spider-Man this season. Like how the Overlord's power is to make spider webs for some reason. And like this scene, that's a clear reference to Venom. Now, the last bad thing I want to talk about in this video is the humor because...
I'm super hooped, and I haven't brushed my teeth in a week!
Yes, someone wrote this. I think this line alone can tell you everything you need to know about the humor in this season. It's just so bad. But hey, this isn't the worst thing ever made, so it should have some good aspects, right? Like I said, Kai and also Pythor are pretty okay in this season, not great, just okay. The pacing's fine also, it flows pretty okay. And I think that's it. I think that's the main good aspects I can think of right now about this terrible season. But so that's today's video. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, and if you can add anything to the conversation, you can just comment down below. This is a very small channel, so I can read all the comments. And also, I'm going to review every Ninjago season, so stay tuned. And then I'm gonna rank them all. And I really need an outro.
Feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm solo, I'm